What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We got a special Friday edition episode of JohnnyVTV Live. Join with me, my boys Kyle Donnelly, Nick Durst, and I guess he is a new addition to the podcast, Joey Cows. What's up, kid? How we doing?
How we doing, everybody?
Oh, I'm doing good, Joe. How are you doing? Nick, what's the matter? What's going on? Well, I mean, you got a nice suave haircut, man. What's going on? What's so wrong?
Oh, I actually haven't gotten a haircut in a while, but
I like the hair. I like the way that you got it there.
I mean, the Mets are going to suck, which I would have told you last week if we did NL predictions. I would have told you that anyway, but now they're really bad. My New York Giants are atrocious. I mean, absolute pathetic. They're going running it back with Daniel Jones again. Nothing to see there. The Knicks stink. I mean, what could I be happy about on April Fool's Day here? Nothing.
Aren't you excited about the news of Goldberg going to AEW?
Did not see that, but Goldberg might be on You Know I'm Right in the future.
Ooh. Speaking of, You Know I'm Right, do you have Pete Davidson coming on the podcast?
April Fools!
Oh, got me. You have me in the first half, not going to lie, bro. That's a good one because
I'm gonna be honest. Like this is a nice joke between the boys over here, but I mean, like we've gotten a lot of people with it so far, more than I thought we would.
Means you know you did a good job.
That's brilliant. The brilliance of Nick's mind. He did that.
It's believable because you guys have some big time guests. So like, why would I like Pete Davidson's kind of like a pseudo celebrity? So right. I would believe it if you got him. You've gotten like much bigger names and people, so it's not unrealistic to think that you could get him with a simple email.
Don't know if I would call Pete a pseudo celebrity. I would definitely put him in the celebrity category.
Is he though?
Yes,
I mean,
without a doubt.
Based on his dating history now, I think.
The dating history, but I mean, even movie wise, I would put him up there.
The thing is, I think my post
he was in the dirt. I mean, he's got his own King of Staten Island movie about
that wasn't that good.
That was all right. Bill Burr was the best part of the movie. And Marissa Tomei, obviously, because
the thing about the post though that I crafted in my head and posted, I even got Joe questioning if we actually did the interview. He thought we actually did it. He was fooled too, and his cousin was very fooled. Who you met, John, down in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Speaking of, dude, I sent Joe yesterday because I came across it maybe like a few days, like within the last week. So Joe's cousin Mike is actually in a Ticketmaster ad with another guy promoting like the Yankees. And I was like, no way. Like of all the people he's in it, he just looks like a huge chooch with the shirt, wide open jersey with the chain, like Med Staten Island, bro. I was this can't be real, bro. This can't be real.
That's so funny. Yeah, so they put him in the ad, but that was I think that's been around for a couple of months, but obviously they're still using it in emails. So, yeah, it's him. I didn't believe it at first either. Giant Chooch, that's really funny.
Lucky guy.
So funny.
But anyway, boys, we got a lot to get to. The MLB is less than 1 week away, and if it wasn't April Fool's Day, I feel like a lot of people would have thought that Jacob deGrom missing time was a joke. But yet again, here we go. The Mets are in the same boat as they were last year. Jacob deGrom is now scheduled to probably miss close to 4 weeks on the low end, and who knows how much longer this could be. Nick, we saw him the entire second half last year after a historic first half run be shut down. So what can we expect from the Mets as well as the rest of the National League now with this news coming out today?
Well, as far as the Mets here, I'd be shocked if deGrom's pitching before June. So what we can expect from the Mets is probably some pretty poor baseball. Their bullpen is very weak. They're really going to have to be carried by deGrom and Scherzer winning 3 games a week, which is not going to be the case anymore. So I expect this team to be way behind the Phillies in their great offense, way behind the Braves in their well-rounded team. And as far as the rest of the NL is concerned, I really don't think this really impacts anybody that much because going into the season, I thought the Mets were the 8th best team in the NL. And there was nothing they've done over the last week or two in spring training to make me think anything differently, just based on who was better last year and what the Padres hope to be this season.
Joe, what do you think how the NL is going to shake out this year? Like, where are you leaning? What's the teams that you're looking at? Was it the Mets before DeGrom injury news breaks, or are you leaning a different way anyway?
Well, I'm with Nick here, and I think it's going to be very hard for them to keep pace in the National League East, especially with the additions that the Phillies have made on offense. We'll get into like NL pennant and World Series stuff later, but to me, the Braves, I said this last week, they won 87 games last year, right? And they weren't even completely fully healthy, and they won a championship, right? They're going to get so many additions back, and yes, I know they lost Freddie Freeman, and that's a huge loss, but I mean, Matt Olson is no slouch either. Matt Olson you're getting 85% of the production for whatever the percentage of the price is. So I'm still looking at a team like the Braves. I'm looking at teams that finished second in their division last year, right? So the Giants were the surprise winners in the NLS, but as we saw in the playoffs, the Dodgers were ultimately the better team. Like the Dodgers, and I like the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to be frisky too. But to bring it full circle, I drafted Scherzer and DeGrom with my first 2 picks in fantasy. Now, granted, I had the 12th pick of a 12-team league, and I had the wraparound the snake, so both were available. And I thought I was the smartest guy in the room to pick both of them. And unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. So
it sounds like a you problem.
As much as I'm going to enjoy making fun of Mets fans, like I do enjoy watching greatness. Who doesn't enjoy watching greatness? So no, DeGrom just absolutely sucks.
You're just hurting yourself.
No way to get around it.
Making fun of the Mets because DeGrom is on your team.
Yeah.
So Kyle, who's the dark horse that you're looking at in the NL to make some noise here? Because we got a lot of suitors.
I think we do, but I think the one to me that's probably going to stand out is going to be the team that won the NL West last year. It's going to be your San Francisco Giants. I think they're going to like even though they're not a sleeper because they won the division last year, the odds say otherwise. So I think value-wise here.
I'll allow it.
You'll allow it, Your Honor?
Count it.
Well, that being said, I mean, hey, what is it? Plus 1,200 for them right here. I love those odds.
So they are plus 550 to win the NL West, which again is the third best price in the division, and
that's still good.
Who knows what the Padres are going to be without Fernando Tatis for the first probably 25-30% of the season. You're right. The Giants are plus 1,200 to win the National League, and then if you want them to win the World Series, they're plus 2,500. So
the value is definitely there.
For a team that's been around since the Stone Age, that set their franchise wins record last year, those are good prices. So I think Judge Johnny's ruling there is very correct and accurate.
It's very valid.
Yes.
Well, I think that being said, you got Joey Bart there catching for, who's going to be a star catcher, someday, I think, going forward in this league. And, hey, Giants, as long as they are consistent like they were last year, that's going to be the team that is the dark horse in the NL as far as I'm concerned.
So it's interesting you guys say that. And for NBC Sports Edge, I've been writing all my preseason predictions over the last 2 weeks, doing every single team's win totals, doing all the award predictions, as well as value picks, World Series, all that. It hasn't been published yet. It's coming up, and now it looks like some of the things are going to be outdated, but I already locked my plays in beforehand. However, the team that I've been highlighting for over a month has been the Philadelphia Phillies. When you look at what the Phillies have done, they added Nick Castellanos, who besides being one of my favorite players in baseball, as you guys well know, he is literally a walking extra base hit. He wakes up in the morning, he has 2 base hits before he even gets out of bed. He's had 72 or more extra base hits every year since 2017, except for the COVID-shortened 2020 season. The guy is going to add so much more juice, pizzazz, and production to that lineup, especially hitting before or after Bryce Harper. I know there's going to be a lot of fun with Joe Girardi trying to figure out which lineup's the best because he has so many options. Oh, by the way, let's not forget adding Kyle Schwarber, who could very well hit 40 bombs in this season. He had, I think, 16 home runs in the month of May or June last year. I can't remember what his hot his hot month was. And listen, we got Zach Wheeler, who now without DeGrom in the picture is a very realistic chance for an NL Cy Young. On points bet, you would find him at plus 1,200 before this news broke. Now he's plus 1,000. He was the leader in the NL in strikeouts. I love what the Phillies are doing. I think they're being discounted. The people are buying into them a little bit. I mean, over the last day or so because the prices have shortened a tad. But I still think there is so much value on Philadelphia. The Braves are great. They're going to be a great team again, but I think there's being too much stock put into them because Philadelphia, for my money, I still think they could realistically win 90 games. They improved the bullpen on paper. I'm looking at the Philadelphia Phillies as much as it pains me as a Mets fan to say that. Joe, guide me here, buddy. NLCS previews. Who you got?
Well, it seems like we both are looking towards the NL East again for our value plays and the teams that we like. I looked at what the Braves did last year, and they, I think, ended up just kind of like surviving and they were just kind of the last team standing. I don't even necessarily think they were the best team last year, right? To me, getting the guys back that they're going to get, and like I said, yes, they lost Freddie Freeman. I just think this team is too good, and we've already seen if they need to go toe-to-toe with a lot of the NL West teams who a lot of people would probably list as the best teams. And I think if you were to ask somebody right now today who the best team in the National League is, they would say the Dodgers, right? It's always the Dodgers. I can't see the Giants going away either, like Kyle said. You don't just plummet from 109 games and then all of a sudden become a 500 team again. The components on that team are way too good. And I do get Kevin Gausman last year kind of pitched in a little bit over his head, but I still think like a lot of the key core components are there. I think Joey Bart probably won't be Buster Posey overnight, but I think he'll replace a good amount of the production that Posey's going to leave after he retired, right? But I like the Braves. I like the Braves to win the National League East, but there's kind of no value there. It's only plus 40. But to win the World Series, they're the seventh best odds on the board, and they're plus 1,200. And
really going out on a limb here,
right? I mean, like I said, they got better at every spot. They added Kenley Jensen in the bullpen, right? And they already had one of the best bullpens in the league in the whole leagues last year, right? That pretty much carried them through the end of October. They've gone toe-to-toe here with the Dodgers 2 straight years in the NLCS. And, I mean, they could have very easily won the first time around. They blew the 3-1 lead, and they ended up getting the revenge last year. But they play well against every other team, right? They're always beating the Brewers. They're always beating the Phillies. They're always beating the Dodgers. So they have the mental fortitude that they didn't have in seasons past, right? So I just think this is a team they didn't really reload. They're, like I said, they're adding on top of an 87-win team that won the World Series last year. The camaraderie is all there. 1-9 lineup wise, I think they're now with the designated hitter being a league-wide thing. I think it benefits that roster in particular, maybe a little more so than it does the Phillies, right? So I just think the value on this team is just way too good.
But you think so? So you got guys like Castellanos and Schwarber who aren't known for their defensive acumen. They're more known for their lineup. So now one of them, there's probably going to be taking chance apiece playing DH versus left
so
field.
The Braves get Acuna back. They're going to get Travis d'Arnaud back for hopefully a full season because he missed a good majority of last season. They're getting Ozuna back, right? Eddie Rosario was awesome. Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, Ozzie Albies, Matt Olson, like 1-9. I think they might be 1-9. I really think the best in the whole league.
That's fair. That's fair. I have no issues with saying they're going to be right there at the end. I think they're going to be a 90+ win team this year if they stay healthy. Acuna is probably not going to come back till at least like mid-May. I would probably say they don't want to rush their star player back, especially like let's say they're a few games over 500. I'd say maybe they wait till June just to make sure he's fully healthy.
And also,
but they're going to be right there. Yeah,
they have a GM who in July, if he thinks they're going to go for it, they will go for it. They did it last year and it paid off. And again, like I said, that team wasn't the best. I just think what they're doing down there is like it could be a very, very special thing. it's very, very hard to repeat in sports with the parity in all these leagues right today. It's not something that we saw when we were younger. I think they really legitimately have a chance to repeat here. So
that's absolutely fair. Kyle, what do you think? Yeah, Joe, you need to. I'm kidding, bro. I'm kidding.
Honestly, I'm gonna stick with my gut here with the Giants, predicting them to be the dark horse. I think they actually get it done against the Dodgers this time around, in the division series, and then end up in the championship series against. And I'm gonna go out maybe on a limb. Do I do it, or do I just go with the chalk and go with the Braves here? Because I'm thinking that there could be a third team in the mix here.
Do something different. We're gonna hear two Braves.
Well, I'll tell you. Different. Okay, so I'll go Giants and I'll go Cardinals because I like what Joey said earlier. I honestly think that, you get a younger team that, what if they catch lightning in a bottle and they really get something going here? Yeah, I think the Cardinals could go back, turn the clock back a little bit and get back to their winning ways. So that would be an interesting matchup to see, an old classic Cardinals versus Giants NLCS, don't you say?
It would be from 10 years ago. Here's my one issue with the Cardinals. I've been wanting the Cardinals to win a World Series again for the last 5 to 7 years, or last 5 years, whatever. They've been there close a couple times, in the 2010s. They were always one of the best teams in the NL, and I put a ticket on them probably 2 or 3 times over the last 5 years. But one thing I always learned, and I learned it the hard way, is I think even though their pitching staff, their rotation is short and they need more arms, that they're always going to be buyers at the deadline and go get somebody. I always think that.
I think it's going to be really hard to rely on Adam Wainwright again because
exactly.
With his
Adam
age,
Wainwright,
at some point it's going to fall off, right?
Adam Wainwright you can't expect him to come back to what he was. That was like a fluke renaissance year. Jack Flaherty's a stud, but he's going to miss time. We're going to count on Miles Mikolas. We're going to count on some of these other arms.
They're going to have to step up. They're going to have to step up. That's what it's going to have to be then if they're going to be in the picture.
Tough, man. And the Brewers are tough. They have probably the best front-to-back pitching staff. If Christian Yelich is anything close to what he could be as an MVP, they won 90 games last year with Yelich doing next to nothing. Me, you, and Joe could have had just as good a production than Christian Yelich had last season. So, the Cardinals is fair, though. I mean, maybe, they might surprise us all. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I was going to say, betting-wise, Cardinals are your best value bet. And Steven Matz is their big signing. We'll see how he could do. But the Brewers didn't show up in the postseason last year. If they did, even won a game or two, I'd pick them right now. But sadly, for the 5th straight year in a row, I think it's going to be Braves, Dodgers in the NLCS. Top 2 teams right now, and that's just the way it's been going the last few years. And there's nothing that jumps with the paper to me to think that this should be any different. But it would be great to see the Cardinals and all their vets, especially our Pujols, kind of make a run at things here.
Fair enough. All right, here's my NLCS preview. Like I said, I've been putting these docs and I've been putting these notes together for 2 weeks. It isn't out yet. So the numbers I have from PointsBet might be a little out of date, but this is what I locked it in at. So I have the Phillies over the Dodgers in the NLCS. I struggle with this decision because I wanted to put the Brewers, but I just cannot rely on their offense. They've, like you said, Nick, they've just seemed to not be the postseason consistency team that I would have hoped for. So Dodgers, basically, bro, they're in the NLCS they're in the NLCS 5 of the last 6 years. They won their division 8 of the last 9. Obviously, their big signing with Freddie Freeman. I just think it's going to be hard. And ultimately, bro, I think I'm picking the Phillies because top to bottom, you can make a case that Philadelphia is going to have one of the best lineups in baseball. Aside from the value that you could get on them right now, I just think that this is it, man. I don't think there is a team in the MLB that has a deeper, better lineup than Philadelphia does on paper right now. If Zach Wheeler duplicates what he did last year, if Aaron Nola gets back to what he could be, Ranger Suarez is a big number 3. He is a big swing guy. And the bullpen, if it improved, I mean, I really think so. And they're going to play, a pretty tough division. If the Mets decide to show up even without DeGrom, the Braves are going to be tough. The Marlins aren't going to be a pushover. So I think, they're going to be battle tested throughout the season. I really think Philadelphia, if they stay healthy and their bullpen doesn't implode like it did last year, they have a realistic shot to win 90 games and to be playing the Dodgers for a trip to go to the World Series and represent the National League. Love it. So with that being said, Kyle, kick me off here with your World Series predictions.
Well, my World Series prediction, I think I'm going to probably go with the Giants out of the NLS. I think this is their year to right the ship that got wrong last year in Game 6 of the what was it, Division Series or NLCS against the Dodgers? It's slipping my. It was division. Well, I really like them to really make a deep run this year and at least get to the World Series. I don't know about win, but at least get there. And let's see what we get out of. Oh, I don't know. Let's throw Toronto in there. Let's throw Toronto in there. We get a 90s like Toronto Blue Jays team that shows up and gets into the World Series. How about that, huh?
All right, Nick, what do you think?
Well, as much as I'd love to pick the Blue Jays, the trendy team, I'm going to go with the Rays. They're flying under the radar right now. They have everybody coming back but Nelson Cruz at this point. They always find a way to do it.
Ahem.
So they're going to be in the mix. Ahem what?
Ahem. Come on, you know who my favorite pitcher is? One of my favorite pitchers.
He wasn't there last year, so they won 90
games.
Yes,
he was. He was a Cy Young.
Yeah, he was out since what, May? I mean,
May, okay, but he was doing really well.
Yeah, so I'm saying,
and aside from Tyler Glasnow,
coming back, they won 95 games.
Shane Baz is hurt, so their pitching staff's a huge question mark. Ryan Yarbrough is not a reliable starter right now, so he could be in and out of the rotation, maybe playing out of the bullpen a little bit.
I think they got a better pitching staff than the Phillies, especially the bullpen. And I would say
the Phillies
that
are in the NL, so
the Rays will take on the Dodgers in the World Series.
Okay.
So you're going to a 2020 rematch. So no surprise. I love the value in the Braves this year, and I really think they're going to go back to the World Series, especially getting Acuna. I think that's going to be a huge lift. I think they will make moves at the deadline, and I think they will end up coming out of the National League. I personally think the American League is so wide open, and I really think this is going to be one of those years where a team comes out of nowhere and makes a run. So last week I gave you the Mariners as a value play, and I really think that if that lineup produces, and I don't think they need to lead the league in runs or anything like that, but I think if that lineup with the additions of Winker and Suarez, if they produce during the regular season, I think it's going to be good enough to get them over the 90 wins that they got last year in that division. That might be good enough to win that division. And I think Robbie Ray is a tremendous addition. I think he's one of those guys where if they get into the wild card game and they need to win in one game and you need to get a lift from somebody, he'll be able to be that guy, again, depending if he stays healthy. I think there's a lot of really great value in the Mariners. And I am going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to pick the Mariners to go to the World Series and play the Braves.
They need to get Conforto, sign Conforto.
And I really like both the Blue Jays and the Rays, but I think there are just things that I'm not quite fully sold on when it comes to each. And I think not having what's his name, the starter in Tampa. Why am I blacking out? Glasnow, right? I think not having Glasnow for the first part of the season is going to make a difference there. I think that, listen, I could say something, whatever I want about the Yankees. I could say whatever I want about the Red Sox, right? But those are four really good teams. And I think what you saw last year is that they all beat up on each other, right? And they're all going to continue to beat up on each other. And I think that's going to open the door for somebody else. So, I'm going out on a limb. They're not like the sexiest pick, and who knows if they're going to win less games, because maybe the 90 wins was a fluke last year. But I just really like what they're doing, and I think there's a lot of momentum trending in the direction with that organization and that team, and I like the camaraderie there. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Mariners and the Braves in the World Series.
Surprised nobody's mentioned the White Sox at all.
Well, why would we mention them? And they got AJ Pollock, but they're not going to be able to beat anybody else in the AL East.
Right.
But they're the favorite right now to win the pennant and coming out of the AL. That's all
Because
I'm going to say.
they got a layup of a division. So
I would say, all I'll say is, I mean, I don't want to believe the hype, but like we can't sleep on Kyle's Red Sox. Unfortunately, they just find a way to get it done. They win 90 games.
They're gonna have a great lineup. I'm not convinced until I see consistent pitching out of them.
Trevor Story for MVP, Kyle.
What's that?
Trevor Story MVP.
Let me hold on. Let me tell you a quick story about Trevor Story. Check his split stats career every season. Home versus away with Colorado, they're night and day.
Yeah.
He is by
check
far
in the history of the
no. It's dramatic. His away numbers are average at best, and that's
what's
a
his
generous
Fenway
word.
numbers? Fenway is very friendly hitter ballpark.
Absolutely, it's about as friendly hitter as
Camden Yards, Yankee Stadium,
Yards,
so
all bandboxes.
I think the AL East is probably the best spot to kind of not impact.
If you had to go,
have a great weekend.
All right, buddy.
And I gotta say, I'm gonna go Max Scherzer, Cy Young. I think that's the way to go for sure.
Really? Okay.
If he pays, he's gonna carry the team.
All right. So my World Series prediction. I love that Joe. We were in lockstep last week. Basically, ALCS, I'm going Toronto over Seattle. I really do think Seattle has a shot. All the reasons you said to win the AL. That's one of my highlight picks. Actually, I just had an article
Those are
about
the same two teams that I like.
Same boat.
Same boat.
Like, and I think the Blue Jays are going to do it. I was a believer in them even before Matt Chapman. I loved what they were doing last year, but the problem is like the pitching for me. I think the pitching is still a question mark a little bit, but just the way they could hit, man, and they're going to be a battle-tested team. They won 91, 92 games last year. I think we're probably going to push that number to 95, 96 this year, and ultimately the Mariners.
I think they're one more starter away. I like Gausman. I don't think he's an ace. I like Barrios. I think he's really good. I don't think he's kind of an ace, and I like Ryu. It's like they need that one less guy who maybe he's not like a top 10, 15 pitcher, but another guy who's
if they don't lose Mats.
Right. If they don't lose Mats, then I think they would have definitively, I think, been the team that everybody was eyeing on as the team that's going to finish with 95 or more wins in the American League and be that top team.
All right, but this is my prediction, so shut up. So I like Toronto over Seattle barely. I'm kidding, Joe, but yeah. And then NL, I had like I said, Phillies over Dodgers. I think it's going to be a Toronto-Philly World Series. Philadelphia wins. Rematch of the 1993 show where the Joe Carter home run, all that good stuff. That's the year I was born, so it was a great year. I think we're going to see Philly beat Toronto in the World Series. Your Honor, no objections. Go find that ticket at your favorite sports book. Now, Joe, if you have something to add, by all means. You're on mute because I muted you.
Pick will mirror yours. We'll go with Seattle and Toronto. And then for the National League, we're going to go with the Braves and the Dodgers. I think those two teams are just on a collision course. And again, I really like the Phillies too. I see a scenario where it could be Phillies-Dodgers in the NLCS, but those are the three teams that I'm eyeing. Like I don't buy into the Brewers anymore. The same reason I don't buy into the White Sox. You got to do something in order for me to really believe in you, right? You got to do something, and till one of those teams breaks out, I can't pick him or use them in any plays or for any value bets or anything like that.
I'm going to say out of the American League, it's either going to be Toronto versus Seattle, or it's going to be Toronto versus Chicago White Sox. Book it.
All right. So that being said, I got the Gambling Guinea's best betting trends. Let's go after it. I got like I said, Philadelphia Phillies to win the World Series at plus 3,300. Can't beat it. I think it's by far the best price, the best value. They have a realistic shot to get it done. Piggyballing into that, one of the main reasons is the emerging player of the night, brought to you by Merch Sports Group, our boy J-Hen. Nick Castellanos, one of my favorite players. I think he has a realistic shot to lead the MLB in home runs this year at plus 8,000. It's a long shot for a reason, but hear me out. We talked about the lineup. He's going to a hitter's park. Now they have a DH. You can't pitch around him in this lineup. And aside from all the extra base hits and all the times that he's among one of the best in hits. Look at last year, it was probably his best offensive campaign of his career, and that was playing in the best lineup that he's played in. Now take this. He had 138 games that he played last year, 34 home runs. Now you look at this. If he hits, or if he plays, let's say 152 to 157 games, he has a realistic shot to get 45 homers. And I think this year, 45 home runs is going to be the territory you need to lead the MLB in home runs. Vladdy, Shohei, Salvador Perez, they were right in that wheelhouse last year. That's why I think it's a realistically good shot for it to happen. You cannot pitch around him. It's going to be him and Harper, most likely batting 3-4 in some combination. So I really love to take a long shot on Nick Castellanos. I think he's in for a monster year, batting 320, 47 dingers, 112 RBIs, 104 runs, and he is going to probably have 85 extra base hits. Hello. That being said, Kyle, take us through your final thoughts.
Well, my final thoughts are, I would love to have the four of us. I know Nick just left a little early, but I would love for the four of us to get involved in a fantasy baseball league because I'd love to see the mudslinging that would go back and forth.
Did you say the four of us?
Yeah. I mean, obviously we get a couple more people. No, it wouldn't be just a four-man league.
It's too late. You should have brought this up like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, timing is everything, I guess. But that being said, listen, do you really think that there's not going to be anybody that's going to hit over 50 home runs this year? I mean, you got arguably the best baseball player in the world right now in Shohei Ohtani that could possibly hit 50.
Listen, I think it could. I'm not surprised. Listen, I'm not surprised. Like, we got a lot of power hitters in this league right now. Ohtani could easily hit 50. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
That would be my final thoughts. Actually, do you think that there's anybody that could really just legitimately go over 50 home runs this year?
No doubt, absolutely. I think we could have a few guys do it. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. Like Acuna. I mean, Acuna's not. He missed too much time, but Pete Alonso could. Why couldn't he? Why couldn't Alonso?
Right.
Why can't? I didn't believe in Perez last year. I mean, he never, I think, had more than like 32 home runs in his career. Then he just goes on an absolute nuclear tear in the last like 6 weeks of the season. Trout is a candidate if he stays healthy for 50.
Judge.
Matt Olson, outside chance. Judge. I mean, yeah, all right, Judge. But there's a lot of guys. I just think it's so difficult to hit 50. It really, really is. It's just
who I expect is going to have an uptick in his power numbers? Soto. Could very easily see Soto hitting 40 plus, and probably 50 is probably a little too out of that range, but I could definitely see 40 to 45 from Soto.
Well, the Nelson Cruz edition's nice because now, like, if they're batting 3-4, and if Soto's batting 3, which he likely is, nobody's gonna. Well, I'm not gonna.
You might have at least 80 homers between the both.
You could. You're likely not pitching around Soto to get to Nelson Cruz because Nelson Cruz could still drop bombs. That kid hit. That guy still hits taters. So I'm not counting him out. But anyway, Joe, what's your final thoughts?
My final thoughts is, once again, I'm happy that baseball is back. Seems like we're on the same page this upcoming season. As you can see, I'm unlike Nick in the sense where I don't have to throw the Yankees into every conversation. But since these are my final thoughts, I just want to say that I will be in the stadium for opening day. And a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of apathetic about if we were going to get baseball or not. But now that we're back and it seems like everything is kind of on the speed track, I'm actually excited. I can't wait to be in the stadium. The Yankees are going to be the most uninspiring 90-win team that's probably going to have to play on the road in the wild card game again. And hopefully if I travel to that game again, they don't lose like they did last year. So some symmetry, me leaving Fenway last year with them losing, and now I will be in the stadium for opening day at Yankee Stadium against the Red Sox. So hopefully they flip the trend.
Sounds good. All right, so here's mine. I'm staying in baseball, but we're going to go to college baseball. Tonight marks the Volunteer State Showdown between the University of Tennessee Volunteers, the #1 team in the country, who have won 16 straight games, taking on the Vandy boys, Vanderbilt Commodores tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's Chase Burns on the bump, who, by the way, most people don't know. Chase Burns is one of the best, probably one of the top 2, 3 at worst, best pitchers in college baseball right now. He's got 33 2/3 innings pitched this season, a .8 ERA with 45 Ks. By the way, he pitches in the best baseball conference in college. I think he's going to come out, have a great game tonight against the Vanderbilt Commodores. Vandy is struggling a bit. It's world-class handicapping by me, but since they changed that logo, the Star V, they've been in a little bit of a struggle. They have a good pitcher, Chris McElvain, on the bump, but he can definitely get taken advantage of. The Volunteers have the best lineup in baseball, as well as probably the best pitching staff. And I think at -125, backing the Tennessee Volunteers is a great, great value to start off the weekend. Thank you for joining us. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at _JohnnyVTV. Nick's at Nick_Durst. We got Joe at JCalabrese1. We'll see you next week. We're going to get into all the best matchups and games of week 1. Appreciate it. Talk to you.
Go, son.